Hi friends, I hope all of you are having a wonderful time. I, CA Pujin Kapadia, welcome you all today on my online video on the subject of mercantile law. Friends, we are going with the topic of the Indian Contract Act 1872. In the previous lectures, we have basically covered certain topics which I would like to brief out very quickly. First thing that we have covered was the definitions. We have studied the definition of what is proposal, what is acceptance, what is an agreement, what is a contract. After studying these definitions, we have taken into consideration what is a valid contract, what are the essential elements for a contract to be valid, under which we have covered many points like free consent, legal objective, legal consideration, capacity of parties, etc. So we have covered basically certain short questions in form of definitions and one important long questions like what all are the essential elements of a valid contract. Today we are going to start with a fresh topic. The name of the topic that we are going to cover today is classification of contract. First of all, let me make you understand what all the classification of contract we are going to cover in this particular unit. Broadly, the contract can be classified on three different bases. That is, there are three different criteria on the basis of which I can classify the contract. The first criteria is on the basis of validity. How much, up to what extent my contract is valid. Under this particular topic, we are going to study various terms, few of which we have already used, but we have not gone into the technical meaning of those words. So in this particular unit, we are going to deal with the technical definition of each and every types of contract which are being mentioned over here. What all are the points covered under validity are void contract, voidable contract, illegal contract, unenforceable contract, and valid contract. Second is on the basis of formation, that is how contract is formed. So there are basically three classification under this subpoint. First is express contract, implied contract, and quasi contract. The third is on the basis of performance, how the contract is being performed. There can be an executed contract or an executory contract. Basically what we are going to do is we are going to cover this entire unit into two different videos. Fine. So for the first day, we are going to start with the first basis, that is classification of contract on the basis of validity. Okay friends, so let's start with the first part. The first contract we are going to study is a void contract. You have come across this word in the previous slides also. You might be well aware when I was teaching you the essential elements of the contract. In the last point, we have covered what is a void agreement, under which we have studied there were 5 different sections, that is section 26 to section 30, where the list of void agreements was given. Under that we have covered that certain agreements which are considered as void, they were any agreement which is entered for restraint of marriage, restraint of trade, restraint of legal proceedings, any kind of wagering, that is gambling agreements, all were considered to be the void agreement. Now let's discuss what is the definition given under the Indian Contract Act 1872. We are going to study section 2 clause G of the Indian Contract Act 1872. It is defining void agreement. Friends, please take a note over here. What I'm going to define as of now is it is about void agreement. We are not going to talk about void contract. So in this particular slide, we are going to study what is void agreement. Let's see the definition. An agreement not enforceable by law is said to be void. If you are entering into any kind of agreement, but if you cannot enforce it by law, that is you cannot implement it in legal ways, you cannot create the legal obligation, then such an agreement is said to be void agreement. I have written an example over here. Agreement which is entered with a minor. When you are discussing the topic of capacity of the parties, I have told you that for entering into a contract, the parties to the contract should be competent. Now, under the definition of competent, we had come across one point, that the party should be major. That is, the age of the party entering into a contract should be either 18 years or above. Any contract which is entered with a minor, any agreement which is entered with a minor is a void agreement. So basically, any agreement which is entered with a minor cannot be enforceable by law. As a result of which, we can say that such an agreement is a void agreement. I hope you are clear with what is a void agreement. Second point I have written over here is total nullity. The total nullity over here means there is no practical implementation, or there cannot be any practical implementation of this particular agreement, as a result of which this agreement has zero value. It is like null in the eyes of laws. It is totally void in the eyes of law. It is not at all valid. Again, to adding meaning to this particular point, it creates no legal rights or obligation. The parties who are entering into a contract by this particular agreement, no legal rights or obligations are created. For example, I am entering into an agreement with a minor. Now, even if minor do not do his promise, do not keep his promise, I cannot sue him. I cannot file a suit. I cannot file a case against him. Why? Because I am not having any legal rights or obligations. As a result of which, we can understand this topic in such a manner that any kind of agreement which is not enforceable in the eyes of law is said to be the void agreement. Example of which I have said is any agreement which is entered with a minor is a void agreement. It has no value. It is a total nullity. That is, it is not at all valid. By this agreement, no legal rights or obligations are being created. Now we are going to talk about one important word that you need to remember. It may be asked in your examination as a short question also. Let's read it. Agreements which fail to fulfill the requirements of section 10. Remember friends, we have studied certain requirements that in order to say an agreement to be a valid contract, there are certain points which are supposed to be fulfilled, which were mentioned under section 10. If the agreement failed to fulfill the requirements of section 10, that is the requirements of a valid contract, they are said to be void ab initio. Now highlighting this word, so please remember this word. What is it known as? Void ab initio. What does it mean? It is void right from the beginning. The moment the agreement is entered, it is having no validity. It is not at all valid. So such agreements are known as void ab initio. So again, we are continuing with the same example. If I am entering into a contract with a minor, the moment I enter into an agreement, it is void. It is known as void ab initio. That is, since the inception I have entered into an agreement, the agreement was void. That is, it cannot be enforceable in the eyes of law. So such agreements are known as void ab initio. I hope I am clear with this particular slide. I'm just giving you a moment. Take a quick view on this particular slide. Well, friends, I hope you have gone through the points that I have mentioned over here. Moving ahead, section 2, clause J, void contract. Now many students ask, sir, sections yaad nahi rehte, how to remember? So you can adopt any particular trick which can be useful for you to memorize the points. I have told you in the initial chapter that almost the definitions that we are going to study in the basic portion of this chapter are being covered under section 2. So in case even if you don't remember the clauses, you can easily write that it is mentioned in the section 2. Now what is the logic, or what is that technique that we can remember this sections? You know, we are staying in Gujarat. So what is the code, RTO code of Gujarat? It is GJ. I hope you are aware about this. Fine. So void agreement and void contract is nothing. It is Gujarat. That is GJ. I want to say then section 2 clause G stands for void agreement. Section 2 clause J stands for void contract. See, this is just a way to remember or memorize the section. If you can recall in this manner, then you can learn this section. Fine. So it is a motive. So what is void agreement and void contract? You can say it is a Gujarat. It is section 2 clause G and section 2 clause J. What we covered in the last slide was void agreement. Now in this particular point, we are going to cover what is void contract. Let's see. A contract which ceases to be enforceable by law becomes void when it ceases to be enforceable. Now what is this definition telling us is a contract which ceases to be enforceable by law, which means I have entered into an agreement. At the time when I entered into an agreement, all the situations were valid. Fine. everything was in its due place, but afterwards something took place, something happened, as a result of which I cannot enforce my particular contract, as a result of which my contract is becoming void. See, there is a thin line of difference between two things, void agreement and void contract. What I told, when I was entering into an agreement with the minor, the moment I entered into an agreement, it was void. So you can say, as soon as I'm making a contract, as soon as I'm making the agreement, it becomes void. It is having no validity, it is having no legal existence from the time I have entered into an agreement. But in case of void contract, when I entered into an agreement, it was valid, all the points were being duly taken care of, but afterwards something took place, as a result of which those points which were valid became invalid, as a result of which I can say void contract, when it was initially entered into, it was valid, but afterwards something happened, as a result of which it became not possible that it could be enforceable by law, as a result of which it became void. I hope you are getting the difference between void agreement and void contract. Again, I'm going to explain it in the last part of this particular slide only, so we will come across the same point once again. Let's move to the second point. When entered, agreement was legal and enforceable. I hope you are getting what I said just now. When the agreement was entered into, when the agreement was made, it was totally legal and it was legally enforceable. But subsequently, it became void due to any reasons like impossibility of performance or change of law, etc. For example, I have entered into a contract of Mr. X that I am going to purchase house from Mr. X. But what happened is suddenly Mr. X passes away, as a result of which there is no one with whom I can do the or fulfill the particular contract, because Mr. X now cannot sell me his property. As a result of which, in this particular case, the contract or the agreement that I have entered into became impossible to be performed. For example, I entered into a contract of purchasing a horse from Mr. X. Now what happened is, during the tenure, we have decided that I am going to purchase horse from Mr. X in the month of December 2020. What happened? The horse passed away. क्या हुआ? Horse मर गया. कब? In October 2020. In short, now the main objective, the main purpose, that is the main subject matter. Who was it? It was horse. वही नहीं रहा तो contract perform कैसे करेंगे? As a result of which, the situation when it was entered into by was legal, but because of certain thing like impossibility of the performance, now it became impossible that we can implement that particular part. As a result of which, I can say the agreement when it was entered, it was legal and enforceable, but now due to certain reasons, it became not possible to implement this particular agreement, as a result of which it has become void. I hope you are getting this particular point. Next point written over here is void agreement. Contract do not come into existence. What we studied in the last slide was, whenever you are entering into an agreement which is void, like for example agreement with a minor, from that time only there is no validity of that particular agreement. It is having no legal existence from that particular moment itself. अगर agreement ही legal नहीं है तो contract exist होने ही नहीं वाला है. Fine. As a result of which I have written over here void agreement. Contract do not come into existence. But in case of void contract, contract comes into existence because initially it was legal and enforceable, but subsequently afterwards due to certain reason it becomes void. So what is the basic difference between void agreement and void contract? Void agreement, when entered into, it was not valid. Fine. So there is no contract coming into existence, which is known as void ab initio that we covered in the last slide. But in case of void contract, the contract is coming into existence, but subsequently because of certain reason, the contract cannot be performed, the contract cannot be implemented, as a result of which it is becoming void. So you can relate this to example. One was entering into an agreement with a minor, that was void ab initio, that is void agreement. And in void contract, you can remember the example of the horse that I entered into a contract today, for example in July 2020, that I am going to purchase horse from Mr. X in December 2020, but in October that horse passed away, he died, as a result of which now it became impossible that the contract can be performed. So the agreement that I have entered into became void. I hope you are clear with the difference between what is void agreement and what is void contract. You need to remember for section Gujarat, that is G, J. G was for void agreement, J was for void contract. I just request you to take a quick overview on this particular slide so you can easily understand what I have written over here. Well, I hope you are clear with this particular slide also. So till now we have covered two things. What is void agreement and what is void contract. Let's move ahead. Next type of contract is voidable contract. What is it? It is voidable contract defined under section 2 clause I. An agreement which is enforceable by law at the option of one or more parties thereto, but not at the option of other or others, is a voidable contract. Fine. This definition may sound a bit technical. So first let's take a look at the example. Then I'll explain you the definition. So it will become much more easier for you to understand what is written over here. So the example is where the consent is obtained by coercion. You know what is coercion? It is force. That is jabardasti. Second is undue influence. That is someone taking misuse that dominant position. Next is fraud. And last is misrepresentation. Acceptance repudiation lies at the option of the party whose consent was so obtained. Now let me give you an example. For example, I am having a flat, a residential flat whose value is 50 lakh rupees. This flat I have received in gift from my ancestors. So I am not at all willing to sell this particular property. Now what happens is Mr. X comes to me, he puts the revolver on my head and threatens me. Darara hai wo mujhe that if you won't sell this particular house or property to me, I am going to shoot you. Fine. So panicked, what I did, I signed the agreement and I said, okay, happy le jao flat 50 lakhs rupees mein. See, here the consideration was not important for me. Since the flat was being gifted by ancestor to me, I was not at all in a position, I was not at all in a mindset that I want to sell that particular house. Because I don't want to sell that particular house. But what happened? Mr. X came with a revolver, he put it on my head and he threatened me. So in this particular case, I have given my approval that okay, I will sell. But have I given it willingly? Answer is no. This was because of coercion. It was because of force. This was taken because he has threatened me to kill me. Fine. As a result of which, my consent was not free. Can you recall? We have taken a topic, free consent. So here there is no willingness. It is taken by force, by threatening me. Now in this particular scenario, afterwards, if I want to cancel the contract, I can do the same. And if I want to continue with the contract, I can even do the same. So the option whether to continue with this particular agreement or to cancel this agreement lies in the hand of me. But Mr. X has to obey whatsoever I am deciding. Now, can you get the particular point? What I want to say is my consent was obtained by force, by coercion, right? At the same time, whenever an agreement was entered into, my consent was not free. So the agreement is totally open on my end. If I want to continue with an agreement, I can continue with the same. If I want to break the agreement, cancel the agreement, I can do the same. So now let's read the definition once again. An agreement which is enforceable by law. See, it was nothing. It was in a genuine nature to sell the property. So the agreement was enforceable by law. But at the option of one or more parties thereto. Who can exercise this option? Only me can exercise this option, not Mr. X. But not at the option of other or others. That is, I was the party who can actually exercise the option of whether to continue or not. But Mr. X do not have any kind of option. He just need to follow what I am exercising. As a result of which, such contracts which are enforceable only at the option of one part of the parties, it is known as voidable contract. Now I hope I am clear with this particular definition. Let's read the example once again to give you more clarity. Where the consent was obtained by this reasons, that is, it was not a free consent. Acceptance, that is, whether to accept the contract and continue with the same, or repudiation, that is, to cancel the contract, lies at the option of the party whose consent was so obtained. Jiska bhi consent free nahi tha. For example, in our example, my consent was not free. Fine. So I was the party who is having the option whether to accept and continue or to cancel and repudiate the contract. The contract becomes void if the party, that is me, disaffirms or repudiates. That is, if I'm deciding that mujhe contract ko aage nahi badhana hai, I want to cancel this particular contract, then the contract will become void. But if I am affirming, that is, I am confirming, no, I am okay with the contract, mujhe bhi 50 lakhs rupees mil raha hai, so let's go ahead, fine. So what I am doing is I am giving my confirmation. Or I am failing to exercise the option to repudiate or disaffirm. I was having that option that I can cancel the contract, but I have not exercised that particular option within a reasonable time. So यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? Whether I am giving my consent that okay, I am okay with the transaction, or I am failing to exercise my option to cancel the contract. In this particular case, the contract will become valid. So basically, what is voidable contract? The contract is in such a state that it can be void, it can be valid, but who is having the power to convert it into void or valid? Only the aggrieved party, that is the party who has suffered. So not both the parties are in the position, only one party is in a position that it can be void, it can be valid. How it can be void? If my consent was not free, my consent was obtained, my affirmation was obtained by threatening me, by giving me a fear that he would kill me, Mr. X would kill me. Then in this particular case, if I am ready to accept the contract, then it is going to become valid. But if I say no, that I don't want to continue with the contract becomes void. I hope I am clear with what is voidable contract. It is at the option of the party whose consent was not received freely or who is aggrieved in a particular situation. I'm just giving you a moment, take a quick overview on this particular slide. Well, I hope you are clear with what I have stated over here. I would just like to let you know, students, that EMLO is all about practical understanding. So if you are good at remembering the examples, then you can easily remember the technicality or the definition that has been given in the law. So in order to make your concepts clear, I would request you all that please focus on the examples I'm giving as of now. It would be much more easier for you to study and remember this particular subject. So by now we have covered three things. First was void agreement. It is any agreement which is entered which is not enforceable by law. For example, I have given the example of agreement with a minor. At the time I'm entering into an agreement, it is not at all valid. It is void ab initio. जैसे मैंने enter किया वो क्या हो गया? Void हो गया. This agreement is known as void agreement. Second, I have told you void contract. When I entered into a contract, it was lawful, it was enforceable, right? Afterwards, due to certain reason, in our example, I have taken the example of horses dying. Fine, we have entered into a contract to purchase the horse, but horse is dying, so now it becomes impossible to perform the contract. In such case, when the agreement was entered into, it was valid, legal, and enforceable. But at the time of performance, it became impossible to perform the contract, so it subsequently is becoming void. Such agreements converts into void contract. So this was the basic difference between what was void agreement and what is void contract. Third I have taken care of is voidable contract, which is the contract is exercisable. It can be enforceable under law at the end of one or the other parties, but not at the end of option of the other parties. In short, we have taken the example where I was not in a position to sell the house, but I was being threatened of killing, as a result of which I have given my consent. Now my consent was obtained by coercion, that is forcefully, as a result of which the contract lies open on my end. If I want to continue, it will become valid. If I don't want to continue, if I say no, it would become void. Such contracts are known as voidable contract. Moving ahead to the next topic, the name of the topic is illegal contract. See, we have studied void, we have studied voidable. Now we are going for the third category, that is illegal contract. Let's see what is written over here. An illegal agreement is one which is against the law in force in India. That is, if I'm entering into any kind of agreement which is against the law in India. If there is certain law in India and I'm doing something which is totally against what is written in the law, and it will be considered as an illegal agreement. That is one which go against some rule of basic policy or which is criminal in nature. So important point you need to remember over here is it is against the law which is in force in India, or it is of the criminal nature. I've given you an example. An agreement to commit murder. If I'm entering into an agreement that I'm going to pay you 1 lakh rupees if you kill Mr. X, fine. So what I'm doing is I'm entering into an agreement to commit murder. Such agreement are known as illegal agreement. Such agreement are void and not enforceable by law. Again, because it is an illegal agreement, it is void. That is, it is not having any kind of validity. It is totally nullity and it is not enforceable by law. However, all void contracts need not necessarily be criminal in nature. See, there is a point that you are supposed to give a thought of. What I have told is, if my agreement is illegal, it is definitely going to be void, because you know illegal is basically against the law or it is in a criminal nature. So it is having no validity. Actually, you cannot enter into any such kind of agreement. As a result of which, what I can say is, if my agreement is illegal, it is definitely going to be void. But if my agreement is void, it is not necessary that it is going to be illegal also. For example, if I enter into an agreement of gambling, fine, wagering agreement. Now gambling is not basically something which is illegal. I have told you that gambling is basically okay at certain places of time. Now gambling contract or wagering contract is basically void. Fine, it is banned, so it is basically void, but it is not in a criminal nature, so it is not illegal. I hope you are getting the difference between what is void and what is illegal. Let's take me a second example. Agreement in restraint of trade. That is, what I'm doing is I'm saying that I have taken an example in the last lecture that I wanted to enter into a business transaction with Reliance Industries. But Mr. X comes up and says me that I am going to pay you 1 lakh rupees. You don't do business with Reliance Industries. Now in this particular case, what I was being done was I was being stopped to trade. It was being restrained to trade with Reliance Industries. Such agreements are void agreements. But are they in a criminal nature? Are they illegal? Answer is no. So what I've written over here is of due consideration for you guys. You need to remember this line. All illegal agreements are void. That is, whatsoever agreements which are illegal in nature, which are against law, which are criminal, are definitely going to be void. That is, they are not going to have any existence. But at the same time, all void agreements, like I told you, wagering, in second example I took of restraint of trade, they are void agreements, but they are not necessarily be illegal. In short, what I want to say is, illegal agreement agar hota hai, they are always void. But if there is a void agreement, they may be illegal, they may not be illegal. Fine. So this is the basic concept that I want to prove in this particular slide. So the point to remember is illegal contract. What is illegal contract? If any contract or any agreement is entered which is against the law, which is in force in India, or which is basically criminal in nature, like agreement to do a murder, are basically illegal agreement. All the legal agreements are void, but all the void agreements may not be illegal. Let's move ahead. Now we are going to study under this topic, that is illegal agreement and illegal contract, what is the effect of collateral, that is incidental transaction. See, one transaction is a basic transaction. For example, I am entering into a contract to kill Mr. X. This is my main transaction. Now, to kill Mr. X, I have to pay him some amount. But मेरे पास पैसा नहीं है. So what I am doing, I am taking a loan for that amount and I am paying that to Mr. X. Now in this particular case, what I am doing is I have entered into agreement to kill someone, fine, for which I need to pay money. Now I am not having any sufficient money, so I am taking a loan from some other person. Now the second transaction, that is of taking loan from some other person, is known as collateral or incidental transaction. Let's look what is written over here. All the collateral transactions to an illegal agreement are also tainted with illegality and hence they are void. So what they are telling is any incidental or a collateral transaction to the illegal agreement are also supposed to be illegal and void in nature. Let's read the example. It will give you more clarity. Mr. A borrows rupees 10,000 from Mr. B. Further, A enters into a contract with X, who is an alien enemy, to smuggle goods. Now, basically, this is something which is against the Indian law. So this part, that is the primary concept. What is the primary transaction? that A is entering into a contract with X, who is an alien enemy, that he is going to smuggle goods out of India. That is, he is not going to pay due tax and duties, he is directly going to smuggle. Now, this is something which is against Indian law, as a result of which the transaction between Mr. A and Mr. X is illegal in nature. Now, B, who is actually providing loan of rupees 10,000 rupees to Mr. A, is aware of this purpose. He is knowing that 10,000 rupees I am giving to Mr. A, he is going to use it to smuggle the goods. Now, in this particular case, I can say what is a principal transaction? The transaction between Mr. A and Mr. X, which is basically illegal against law. And what is your collateral or incidental transaction? Transaction between Mr. A and Mr. B. Now, since B was aware of the purpose, the transaction between A and B, which was collateral to the main agreement, also becomes illegal since principal contract is illegal. So in crux, what I can say is, अगर आपका main agreement illegal है, उससे related जो भी आप और transactions करते हो, वो भी क्या हो जाएगा? Illegal हो जाएगा. This is what I have written over here. I hope you are clear with it. Take a quick overview on the example I have written over here so that you can easily understand what I have taught you in this particular slide. Well, I hope you are clear with this. कोई भी illegal agreement होता है, उससे related if you do any transaction which is collateral or incidental to the main transaction, it is also going to be illegal. Now again the same thing, that is we are going to study about collateral or incidental transaction only, but the motive is going to change. All the collateral transactions to a void agreement. वहां पे क्या था? It was illegal agreement. यहाँ पे क्या है? Void agreement that is not illegal. Means there is an agreement which is void but it is legal, may still be valid. वहां पे क्या था? Collateral agreement to illegal agreements are also illegal. यहाँ पे क्या है? Collateral agreements to void agreements which are not illegal may be valid. Let's see the example. Again, Mr. A is borrowing rupees 10,000 from B. Further, A is using these funds into wagering, that is gambling. B is aware about the purpose of the loan. So the scenario is the same. वहां पे क्या हो रहा था? He was going to smuggle the goods, which was illegal. यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? He is doing gambling or wagering, which is not illegal. As a result of which, the transaction between A and B, which is collateral to the main agreement, will be valid since the principal contract is void and not illegal. Can you get the difference, friends? If the main agreement is illegal, then all the collateral transactions to it are going to be illegal. But if the main agreement is void but not illegal, then the collateral transaction may be valid. So this is what I wanted to taught you. Till now, we have basically covered three important types of contract. Under the first one, we have studied what is void agreement and what is void contract. If any agreement is entered with a minor, it is void ab initio. पहले से ही void है, उसका पहले से ही कोई existence नहीं है. What is void contract? When the agreement was entered into, it was legal, it was enforceable, but somehow something happened. As a result of it, the contract cannot be enforceable, so it becomes void. Like horse बेचने का contract किया था और horse की death हो जाती है. Fine, so it was a void contract. Second part that we have covered is voidable. When the contract is exercisable, is enforceable only at the option of one or more parties, but not at the option of other parties. That my example of revolver रखी गई थी, house बेचने का मैंने consent दे दिया. Now my consent was obtained by coercion, forcefully. As a result of which, if I want to continue with the contract, it will become valid. If I do not want to continue with the contract, it will become void. That was voidable contract. Third we have started was illegal contract. Illegal means if I am entering into an agreement which is basically against the law, which is being enforced in India, which is something criminal, then it is known as illegal. Like example was agreement to enter into a murder. Fine. What I am doing is I am paying some person to kill some other person. This is basically an agreement which is illegal in nature. Then we have taken consideration of two things. First is collateral transaction with respect to illegal agreements. So illegal agreements से जो भी transactions collateral रहता है, वो सारे के सारे क्या हो जाएंगे? Illegal. But in case if the main transaction, principal transaction is void and not illegal, then the collateral transaction can be valid. This is what I have explained you. So now it's a time to test your knowledge. The rules remain the same. I'm going to give you 5 different MCQs. You need to mark correct answers with yourself. After completion of all the MCQs, we are going to discuss the correct answers. I hope you are ready with the same and your time starts now. Well, friends, I hope you are ready with the answers. So let's check them. The first question was, all illegal agreements are, correct answer is option C. If an agreement is illegal, they are supposed to be void. So all illegal agreements are void in nature. So correct answer is option C. Second is the contract where consent is received under undue influence or fraud. That is, your consent is not free. Then the contract is said to be voidable. Remember the example, revolver रख के मेरा consent ले लिया था, fine, to purchase the property. So it is basically at the option of the aggrieved party whether he want to go ahead with the contract or he want to cancel the contract. So this contract is known as voidable contract. So correct answer is option B, voidable. Third, an agreement entered into with the minor. We cannot enter into an agreement with the minor. So if I am doing the same, it is option C, void ab initio. पहले से ही क्या हो जाएगा? Void हो जाएगा. So correct answer is option C, void ab initio. Fourth, it is the same example that I have taught you. A is borrowing rupees 10,000 from B. Further, A is using this fund into wagering or gambling. Now you all know wagering is a void agreement, but it is not illegal. B is aware about the purpose of the loan. The transaction between A and B of the loan, which is collateral to the main agreement of wagering, will be, we have studied, अगर illegal main business होता है तो उससे collateral भी जो रहेगा वो क्या हो जाएगा? Illegal हो जाएगा. But in this particular case, the principal agreement or the principal contract is not illegal. It is just void. As a result of which the collateral transaction is going to be valid. So the right answer to this question is option A, valid. And the last part is an agreement to do murder. Murder is a criminal act. Yes. So it is going to be illegal. That is option A is the correct answer. I hope you are clear with all the things that I have covered today. So I, CA Pujan Kapadia, thank you all for your patient listening and hope to see you soon in the upcoming lecture. Thank you, friends.